Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It's so exciting for those of you that are out in live stream land. I am at the center, and we have half of our spiritual family back today. So I'm actually looking at all these great smiling faces, and I'm so happy to be here. This is the beginning of something new, and Sherry and Mark are even on time, but Renee beat them. So, good morning, everybody. Yeah, we're just so excited today. So, in my spiritual practices, I came across a writing from A Year of Miracles of Marianne Williamson, and I thought it said so much that I've been reading it every day, and I decided to bring it into the service. We're at a juncture right now where we have time to play with service until we decide which way we're going to go, and staying with live streaming, opening with different songs. We don't exactly know where we're going, but it's all going to be fun, and we're going to get there together. But I wanted to start with this because it really touched my heart, and it touched the heart of the prayer circle also. So that is what I'm going to be starting with today. And the name of the writing is called May My Mind Be a Touchstone for Love Today. And it says, may I be divinely programmed today to think thoughts that are most creative, positive, insightful, and beneficial. And in doing so, I don't give up my personal responsibility or turn my power over to something outside of myself. Rather, I take the highest level of responsibility, and I like that, the highest level of responsibility, knowing that the divine mind has created my mind to be a touchstone of love. And every time I think of that, I feel like I want to go like this, like a touchstone for love. So today, I walk forward today in confidence and love, knowing that my mind is used for the highest and the best, dissolving wrong-minded thoughts and perceptions, knowing that my mind is used for endless love, and for myself and for others. And I don't know about you, but I just think that's beautiful. So I'd like to keep it as the opening of our service for a while, because it just, I see some of you nodding yes. So anyhow, that's one of the new things that we can talk about. And if we like it, we keep it. And if we don't, we won't. So that's where we're going. So stop, look, listen, and feel. If there is ever a time in our life that, I was thinking last Monday, right after, Sunday's over, so ministers start thinking on Monday, oh God, what am I going to do next week, right? How do I find 52 ways a week, a month, a year to say I love you, and God is all there is? You think this is an easy job? You should only know from it. So anyhow, when I was thinking about it, I'm thinking, okay, like stop, and I don't know, it went through my mind. Stop, look, listen, feel, because that's where we need to take a step back from everything that's happened. So going through and reading different things, I came across this reading that I absolutely love, and it absolutely honed in on what I was thinking for this week. So it says, the man whispered, God, speak to me, and a meadowlark sang, but the man didn't hear, and he walked away. So the man yelled, God, speak to me, and thunder rolled across the sky, but the man didn't listen. The man looked around and said, God, let me see you. And the star shined so brightly, but the man didn't notice. So the man cried out in despair, touch me, God, and let me know you are here. Whereupon God reached down and touched the man. But the man brushed the butterfly away and walked on. So we tend to not hear, see, feel the presence of God because we've decided in our minds the way God should show up for us. we tend not to stop long enough to even contemplate the possibility that we are already in that presence. We might want to think about this. God is not packaged according to our specifications. You know, sometimes when you Google down and you buy something online and then you go down further and there's all the specifications. Well, God's not packaged that way. So we then miss out because of that on the beautiful expressions and the blessings of God because it did not show up yet with a capital I. It didn't show up the way we expected it. I said a prayer and this is what I expected, and that didn't happen. So therefore, God let me down. And how much that we expect goes back to childhood images and how much is based on the perspective that God has so many names and we haven't found what truly resonates with us, especially in this New Thought movement. So most of you that know me well know that I always resonate with Holy Mother or Holy Spirit. So as a minister then, I don't know what resonates for each one of you. So depending on the subject that I'm speaking about and the intensity of what I'm feeling about that subject, I offer up different names so that I know that one of them each resonates with you. And knowing that you grasp from the sentiment of what I'm speaking about behind my words, what part spirit I'm talking. We always say, like, Holy Spirit is the action of God. So, but when it's like, dear God, I use God. You know, dear God. But when I'm writing prayers for you, I go, dear Holy Spirit. I'm asking, or I'm saying this prayer for Sandy today. You know, may her children be well. So it depends on the sentiment, why I use all these different names for God. But it is said that as soon as we try to name it with a capital I or define it, we do not know it. So think about that. The minute we try to package it, to hone it down into something that we can put together, we don't know it. Why is that? Why is that the truth? Because the universal intelligence, it is beyond the scope of our true understanding. How many of you would agree with me there? It's, yeah, right. Most of you are shaking your head, yes. Because the true name is what? What's the true name? I am, right, I am. You're absolutely right. So here's what Charles Fillmore has to say about that. Charles Fillmore is the co-founder of Unity, and he puts it this way. The starting point in spiritual realization is the right understanding of God. By describing God with words in our human way, we are but stating as a child. In our human way, we're stating as a child. Its later maturity will still faintly grasp. So what Fillmore is saying, that our child perception, and even as we mature into adults, we still don't really grasp what God is. And Fillmore goes on to say that words never express which God is, and language is the limitation of the mind. And that makes sense to me. Sometimes, did you ever say, I have no words to tell you how I'm feeling? Mm-hmm. So with all of the words that we have, I can't describe to you how I'm feeling about this. I don't have the words. And that's the point of trying to put a description on God. So Fillmore goes on to say we must drop the complex. Drop the complex. Find simplicity before we can know God. We must become as a child. So here's what we need to know then about that. God's name represents wholeness. Wholeness, whichever name resonates with you, it represents wholeness. God is wholly perfect, the creator. Now, I could stand here and list name after name after name after name, But the point is, God is to you and you and you, whatever you choose it to be. All that is asked of us is to believe that there is something greater than we can imagine, and it's living within our own hearts and souls. And we all agree with that. God lives within. Do we agree with that? Mm-hmm. Remember, the only organ in our body that can feel is the heart. The heart. So then, this awareness, this belief in this higher power is what gives us the strength and the power to hold on. It's when we understand the interconnectedness. I was watching just a thing on TV last night, and the story wasn't important, but the lady was actually manic depressive, and she got hold of the thought in her mind that we're all connected to 6 people. And it made me think of what I was saying in the interconnected. And she was going, so if Renee goes to the grocery store and Sandy's husband owns the grocery store and Dirk is a person that works in the grocery store and Kay comes there to shop and then goes over to Sherry and Mark's house, that each one of that is an interconnectedness that brings us all together. Of course, this woman was manic depressive, so she was going manic over it. But it's true. That theory is true. So it's when we understand the interconnectedness of a whole and understand seasons and nature, we begin to learn then the wisdom and the beauty of all life and the sacredness of all life. So why is this important? Why am I sharing these thoughts with you today? Because many of you are asking me, where is God in all of this pandemic? Where is God in the government, the virus, the lack of respect for dignity for all lives? Where is God? Where is God?
Inside.
Exactly, within. Where's God? The answer to that question is within each of us. That's where God is. And I have spoken to so many of you throughout the past 3 months, and I can say that your emotions, as well as my own, are all over the place. And understandably so. And the question of this is the result of wrong thinking. God doing all this continues to come up. God's not doing it, guys. I'm truly sorry. And your mother's not doing it either. So, get her off the hook for this one too. The universal intelligence gave us free will, choice. And where we are right now in this world is a result of that. But that's yesterday's news, because there's good news. The good news is today we can change what we want to see. Change requires recharging our hearts and accepting that we're inseparable from one another. My heart is so recharged from this 3 months of having to deal with only me. Boy, that was hard. How about I move in with one of you guys for 3 months? Holy mackerel. Yeah. Let's see, what do you call, how many sides of Sybil? Holy mackerel. But that's also yesterday's news, because Thich Nhat Hanh says blaming has no positive effect. We can't blame this on God, and we can't blame it on the Chinese, and we can't blame it on the government. We have to take responsibility for our energy and what we bring to the table. So, and no blame, says Thich Nhat Hanh. No blame, no reasoning, no argument, just understanding will show you that you can love, and the situation will change. The situation will change. This sanctuary is vibrating with love today. It is, and I feel it. I felt it the minute I walked in the door, and it's awesome. So can we not feel the pain? Can we not feel the pain and the anxiety and the loss of our brothers and sisters? Not only in our world. Of course we can. We do. And that's right and normal. But we forget to also feel and celebrate each other's joys and accomplishments. I know all of you, and I know that you feel for each other. Every little celebration, birthday, anniversary, birth, getting that new car, getting that new house, whatever it is that you were getting, we all celebrate that with you. We all do. But right now, looking inside of our hearts and souls, we're trying to make sense of this. We're all trying to make sense of this and the world and our own lives. We are looking within and finding truths that are setting us free. Values are changing. My values are changing. Everyone said, oh, you got a new car. No, I actually didn't. I got a 2016. I didn't need a new car. It was ridiculous to get a new car when that car works fine. I love it. Values are changing. Kindness is growing. And generosity is expanding. So this is a good time. Despite everything that's going on out there, if we raise our consciousness, if we raise it and go into the higher self of who and what we are, this is a good time. This is an opportunity to make a difference, a big difference, a big difference. So I'm asking you to go with me on this. Go where we're going to look inside to find the roots of our insecurity, our lack of confidence, our lack of trust. I'm asking you to find new core values. How many of you actually have written down somewhere in your house, in your journal, somewhere, what your core values are? What are your core values? Just have 5 of them. What are your core values? And when you're doing that, you can pull out the old weeds that have lost their need to bloom in your life. You don't need that old stuff blooming anymore. See, what's happening here is this, and I believe no matter if it's a New Thought church, if it's a Protestant church, Catholic church, synagogue, mosque, this is what I believe. And I truly believe this. Our spiritual growth is expanding in leaps and bounds, and we're waking up. We're waking up from a long, long winter sleep. And in Sheboygan, that was a long, long winter sleep. But there is a new world brewing. There is a new world brewing. I was laughing the other day looking through a catalog from Bed Bath & Beyond. And they were advertising an electric coffee pot. And they were advertising actually the coffee pot you put back on the stove. And it made me laugh. It seems like we're shifting. We're shifting to more reasonable things. We're shifting. And we can shift much faster and quicker than ever before if we have belief that our goodness in all things is waking up. We have power, and our power and our goodness has been like a sleeping giant. I've been here 2 years and I'm just waking up. Stop it. Okay, let's go. So, and here's what I learned. Here's what I learned. Now listen to this. Because I'm being vulnerable here. Here's what I learned. We don't have to roar to be heard. But it has to announce I'm here and be a part of the solution. So how do we go forward from here, from this very day, and go back out into our families and our friends, our neighborhoods, our communities, for those of us who work our jobs? How do we go back and make a change without roaring? To have peace in our land. We do that by being willing to look inside ourselves. We've already taken that giant leap. And that giant leap of faith has to be an agent for change. We have to be agents for change. Gary Zukav tells us that looking inward, instead of focusing on the outward circumstances, it's important to take the step in the process of spiritual development to go within. And it doesn't mean to dredge up yesterday and sit in despair. We've got to get over that analyzing and analyzing and analyzing. It means accepting and discovering the beautiful person you are, and that you've been hiding there in fear that you're not good enough. And I want you to hear me. You are good enough. Say it. I am good enough. Again, I am good enough. And the outward appearances do not have to change immediately. But this is the time. This is the time. You commit to spiritual practices or to increase your spiritual practices. If you don't have one spiritual practice, I want you to commit to yourself right now. You will tomorrow morning. Be it just reading daily word. Take a piece of paper and write on it and say, God, what do I need to know today? And let God write an answer for you. Or sit quiet. And here's what Thich Nhat Hanh has to say about spiritual practices. They're not about sitting and meditating or journaling only. Spiritual practices include looking, thinking, touching, drinking, eating. It's about mindfulness. Every act, every breath, and even every step can be a practice. Gardening is a spiritual practice because it helps us become more of ourselves. It allows us that freedom. We have to stop. We have to look. We have to listen. And we have to feel. If we do this, if we can begin to slow down and stop multitasking, if we can be more mindful, we can bring peace. Old nagging thoughts can and will show up every day. Rumi calls them Houseguest. And he says, let them in and entertain them. I love that when I read that. He says, stop, look, listen, and feel. He is saying what I'm saying. Don't bury old stuff, but make friends with that and make friends with your emotion. So here's how he puts it. Listen to this. This is profound. This being human is a house guest every morning with a new arrival. Oh, God. A joy, a depression, a meanness, some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. Even if they are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house and empty all its furniture. Still, he says, treat each guest honorably. That guest may be clearing out for some new delights. Think about that. Clearing, and that's what we want to be doing. We want to be clearing out. We don't want to be holding it in and analyzing and thinking about it and how do I handle it and how do I forgive it and all that stuff. He's saying clearing out for a new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing. Laughing and in Okay, I'll talk in a minute. This show just gotta go. So he's saying, meet them at the door, laughing, and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes because each was sent as a guide from beyond. Be grateful, whoever comes, because each was sent as a guide from beyond. I don't know about you guys, but do you think that's profound? I think it's profound. And it sums up any self-help book, any therapist, minister, rabbi, priest, what they could tell you. I don't have COVID, I have allergies. I just had a test, I'm negative. So what Rumi is saying is deal with whatever it is as it comes up. Can you imagine, I was thinking about this last night, can you imagine if you were taught this at an early age, instead of being sent to your room or being screamed at, yelled at, if parents could teach little children how to deal with the thing right away and let it be done. What about all that stuff when your father comes home? And believe me, we all did the best we could do. We all did, I have no awards calling me Mother of the Year, so. But imagine if we were taught just to deal with it and it is done. Wow. So those of you that have children, grandchildren, great nieces and nephews, time to maybe pass that information on. How do you pass that on? To deal with it as it comes. And I'm not discounting getting help when I'm saying deal with it as it comes, because if there is something that is beyond your ability, certainly get help, but don't be stuck in it for 10 years. Deal with it and be done, is what I'm saying. And as an anonymous poet once said, your task is to build a better world. To build a better world, said God, and I answered, how? The world is so large and vast place, it's so complicated now, and I, so small and useless am, there's nothing I can do. But God, in such great wisdom said, just build a better you. Just build a better you. So I ask you to go with me right now in prayer and know with me that all is well in our world. There is universal intelligence continually guiding and guarding our heart and soul. We just allow time to slow down and to be present to the presence. We know that everything on earth is an individual expression of the divine mind, as each one of us is an expression of that mind also. We are born with this gift of the image and likeness of God, and we honor that within ourselves and others. We go forward this day knowing we are one voice, joining with all voices to be shepherds of peace. Today we honor our connectedness to all things big and small, all people, all nations, knowing we are part of the one, the I am. In this truth, I believe myself to be a conduit for change, harmony, peace, and love. I walk in the direction of and with the commitment to make valuable contributions to spiritual evolution of humanity. This is my truth. It is so. It cannot be any other way. And so it is. Amen. Amen. It is done. And thank you. And so we have a new way for those of you who are here. You probably saw when you came in, you just put your love offerings in the back on the table when you come in or when you leave. And I kind of like that, and who knows, we might keep it that way. We'll see. We'll talk about it. For those of you that are still with us on live streaming, ways to donate, of course, www.unityofsheboygan.org donate, or you can give Lucian 31996 or mail to us at 2409 8th Street. For all of you that have been sending in your donations, thank you so much. And for all of you that are here today, I'm ecstatic to see you all, and thank you for your donations. Thank you. All right, we need some volunteers. Join Danny and Tom and lend a hand at the Yard Cleanup Spiritual Center, Saturday, June 20th, 9 a.m. to 11. Your help is very much appreciated. Annie and John Horzen have, after many, many years, made a decision to step down from the green team. And we certainly thank them. And when you see them, they'll be back in a couple of weeks or more to say thank you for all that they have certainly done. But now we need to pick up and take over for there. So join Danny, which we all know, and Tom back there doing PowerPoint, we know, and lend a hand and be here Saturday, June 20th, 9 to 11. And again, Ariana Prayer Circle is on Wednesday at 11. The Zoom Book Club resumes at 12 on Wednesdays. And just to let you know that the men's group and the women's group will be resuming in July. That is all of the good news. I invite all of you that are here today to stay after service, and let's talk a little bit about what you're thinking, what you're feeling, stories you might want to share about things that you've discovered in the past 2 or 3 months.